If you know about Neville Goddard, you know about Napoleon Hill, The Secret, the Law of Attraction, even my mentor, Bob Proctor. And no matter how much you know, your results aren't changing. It's because you're thinking about your goal. You might already have a goal, you probably do, but you're thinking about your goal instead of thinking from the end. So watch this video to the end because I'm going to break down exactly what Neville Goddard means by thinking from the end. Now, before we get into that, we have to understand that there's a law of this universe called the law of vibration. Like everything in this universe operates on frequencies. So if you've seen this thumbnail on YouTube and you clicked on it, you clicked on a frequency that allowed this video to be shown to you. Everything operates on frequencies. Now, the universe tells us that nothing was created or destroyed. So your goal is already here. Creation is already finished. The only thing left to do is manifestation. But everything that you want is here. It's just on a different frequency. One of my favorite quotes is by a very smart man called Albert Einstein. And he said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. And if you match the frequency of the reality that you want, you cannot help but get that reality. So let's say, for example, you want to make £25,000 a month. That £25,000 a month is on a frequency. All you've got to do is get onto that frequency and you cannot help but attract it. Okay? Now, our frequency is controlled by our subconscious mind. It's controlled by our feelings, our vibration. Now, our vibration, our feelings, our frequency is controlled by our thoughts. So if your goal is to make £25,000 a month, you've got to think from it. You've got to have mental conversations with yourself as if you've already made that £25,000 a month. You know, I've got a great client who actually lives out here in Dubai. I'm in Dubai at the moment, and I'm going to take her for dinner. She's called Narina. And we was on a client Q&A the other day. And she said, Joel, I just keep saying to myself, what do I need to do to get to £10,000 a month? And I said, well, what you've got to do is you've got to stop saying that to yourself because you're thinking about your goal. You're thinking to your goal instead of thinking from your goal. Because the Narina that makes £10,000 a month would never think to herself or have a conversation of what do I need to do to get it? If you was already making £10,000 a month, I said to her, you wouldn't have that conversation. You'd be having conversations of, wow, I am so happy and grateful that I make £10,000 a month and I can buy this, I can do this, I can take my daughter to this place. Does that make sense? So what you've got to do is you've got to start thinking from the end. So let me ask you this. Think about your mental conversations that you're having with yourself and then think about your goal. Do they match? Is your mental conversations matching what you would say to your best friend on the phone if you'd achieved your goal? If your results are not changing, then that means that they're not matching. You're having mental conversations of what do I need to do to reach my goal? That's thinking to the goal. You've got to think from the goal. So if you'd already achieved your goal, what would you be saying to yourself? What would you be saying to your partner, your family, your friends, your children? I want you to carry on mental conversations from that place. Now look at what Neville says in Awaken Imagination. He says the spanning of the bridge between desire, which is thinking of, and satisfaction, which is thinking from, is all important. We must move mentally from thinking of the end to thinking from the end. Now this, reason could never do. By its nature, it is restricted to the evidence of the senses. But imagination, having no such limitation, can. Desire exists to be gratified in the activity of imagination. Through your imagination, you can escape from the limitation of the senses and the bondage of reason. There is no stopping the human being who can think from the end. Nothing can stop him. He creates the means and grows his way out of limitation into ever greater and greater mansions. It does not matter what he has been or what he is. All that matters is what does he want. I'd love to ask you that. Have you really sat down and thought about that? What do you want? Just claim it and then start having conversations like you already have it. My goal is to own a villa on the Palm in Dubai. So I am currently in Dubai staying at a hotel. And when I'm walking on the beach, I am having mental conversations with myself like, Joel, you've actually just got the keys to your villa on the Palm in Dubai. Like, how does that feel? And I'm like, oh my God, it feels so amazing. I knew it would happen. Now I live on the Palm in my villa. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm having conversations from the end. What is that doing? It's changing your frequency. It's causing you to be a vibrational match for your goal. It's very powerful. Let's break down what else Neville says. He says the future must become the present in the imagination of the one who would wisely and consciously create circumstances. We must translate vision into being, which is thinking of, into thinking from. Imagination must center itself in some state and view that world from that state. Thinking from the end is an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desire. Thinking from the state desired is creative living. Now, ignorance of this ability to think from the end is bondage. It is the root of all bondage with which man is bound. Now, to passively surrender to the evidence of the senses underestimates the capacity of the inner self. Once man accepts thinking from the end as a creative principle in which he can cooperate, then he is redeemed from the absurdity of ever attempting to achieve his object by merely thinking of it. You've got to carry on mental conversations like you already have it. And what that's doing is that's putting you on the same frequency as what you want. I'm telling you, if you implement this, first thing in the morning, when you wake up, before you get out of bed, you have a mental conversation with yourself like you've already achieved your goal. If you do that, you're going to change your vibration, and it's the vibration that your body's in that's dictating what you attract. And if you haven't got this book, I would recommend getting it. If you haven't got it, your library's not full. I mean, I could read this every single day of my life and still learn something. It's called The Power of Awareness. It's by Neville Goddard. And if you're going to get it with this red banner, because this includes awakened imagination. And if you really want help implementing this stuff, I would really recommend downloading my free £10,000 plus month breakthrough blueprint, or booking a free one-to-one call with me. I mean, I will show you exactly how to get from where you are to where you want to be on that call. And I'll also show you how to start thinking from the end, because we can't be thinking from the end for 10 minutes a day or 1 hour a day. We've got to be constantly thinking from the end if we're going to manifest what we want in our results. Moral of the story, start thinking from what you want instead of to what you want. That's how you become a vibrational match. And that's what I've learned from Neville Goddard. And also that's what my mentor Bob Proctor taught me. And if you enjoy this, make sure you subscribe, because I literally post a video every single day that's going to help you change your subconscious programming and help you attract exactly what you want. I'm Joel McLeod. You have an incredible day.